Hey guys, today here in episode 2, we're going to talk a little bit about time management and money management with respect to seasons. So we have set this up on 3-day seasons. So that is the shortest duration that you could possibly have. So you have basically 12 game days in a year. Okay, that is the shortest duration. You go up here and we could pick 24-day seasons, and that is the longest duration, and that is 96 game days per year. So there is a drastic difference there between 12 and 96, and there's various different durations, obviously, in between. I'm going to be tossing up a chart here momentarily that will quickly outline that, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So here you can see on the chart, we basically have 3-day seasons. We have 1 day per transition, as I mentioned in the last video, for a total of 12 game days per year. Then we move to 6-day seasons, where we have 2 transitions per 2 days per seasonal transition. Sorry about that. 24 game days per year, so double the length of 3-day seasons. Then we have 9 days per season. So we have 3 days per transition. So there will be 3 game days in early spring, 3 game days in mid-spring, and 3 game days in late spring. So that is a total of 36 days for the game year. And then we'll go out to 12-day seasons for a total of a 48-day game year, 15-day seasons for a 60-day game year, 18-day seasons, a 72-day game year, and then 21-day seasons, which brings you to an 84-day game year. So when you're talking about having such a significant amount of time between when you're the start of your game year and the end of your game year, you're going to have a long time from plant to harvest. And unless you have alternate methods of earning money, really you're going to need to make the money last for quite a while. Now, it's a bit easier in Farm Sim 19 than it was in Farm Sim 17 because you don't have daily maintenance so much with your vehicles. So in Farm Sim 17, everything you owned cost you a certain amount of money per day, just for the mere privilege of owning it, it seemed like. Well, for the most part, that has been removed with Farm Sim 19, except there are still some mods out there. So pay attention if you play a heavily modded game, that some of your mods may still charge you a daily maintenance cost. But still, it's a good idea to get rid of things that you're not going to need. So here with new farmer mode, basically on both Ravenport and Felsburn, you start with a harvester. Well, even on 3-day seasons, we're not going to need this harvester probably for a good 9 days. So why own it? Let's just go and get rid of it. And to some degree, you may decide why even own a harvester to begin with. If, for example, you're playing 9-day seasons, you have a 36-day game year. You could easily go, and not own a harvester. Basically, lease it for the duration that you're going to need it, and then get rid of it, or buy it, use it, and then sell it back when you're done. On the used market, it might be a bit cheaper than leasing. You should always factor that into your decision making. Now, something that is back with respect to seasons, people haven't really talked about it yet, is the ability to quote-unquote borrow equipment. So you can come up here to the shop, buy something, use it, and return it, as long as you do it within 30 game minutes. Not 30 game minutes, sorry. 30 real-life minutes. So a half hour on your use timer down here. Then it is, well, it's free because you get full value back for it. So that's exactly what we're going to demonstrate here. We are going to pick up a fertilize spreader, and we're going to do some field prep because it's still too cold to put really any crop in the ground. So what we're going to need to do here is just some general field preparations to get everything ready for when it actually is planting time. We are going to need to basically be ready to plant that crop. We're going to drive this up here, and we're going to get rid of this because, well, we need the money. We're going to get a full $100,000 out of this. $32,000 out of that. And that is because it's still new. $100,000. See? So it's advantageous to get rid of this stuff if you're not going to use it for a while because you're not going to need it. And you're probably going to need the money. We're going to get this one because this one allows you to also do lime. Let's go ahead and get that. And like I said, we're going to buy this. Okay. Remember, we're spending $18,900 on this. All the fields that we're going to own for our first year are cultivated. So we're just going to go ahead and bring this up and get rid of these and pick up that fertilizer spreader. We'll be right back. So let's take a look here at the weather here. So 41 degrees is really the optimal temperature that we need to get to as far as our ground temps go. And we are currently sitting at 39 degrees. Take a look at our forecast. We can see that today we're going to get up into around the mid-50s. Minimum temperatures for the nighttime are going to be down here around 39 degrees. And then tomorrow we're talking about mid-50s again. So I suspect our ground temps are going to be coming up fairly quickly. Now, this is on, again, 3-day seasons. So we are talking about some very extreme temperature differences. Today is Monday. Come Friday, we're talking about a high of 106 possibly, with an average temperature of 78 degrees. That seems to be a little outlier because the day before we're talking about 56 and the next day we're talking about 43. But remember, 3-day seasons, one day is an entire month in reality. Okay? So if we cycle this to, let's say we cycle this over to 12-day seasons, and we take a look now at our forecast, you're going to see that the temperatures are a bit more normalized. They don't fluctuate so much, and that's because between Monday and Sunday, those 7 days, or 5 days, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, those 7 days, we are now really just going from early spring into mid-spring, as opposed to what 7 days would be in 3-day seasons. We're talking about, we're all the way out here to winter, or close to winter at that point, just within our 7-day forecast here. So, depending on the day's duration that you're playing, the temperature variances can really change from one day to the next. So, for example, what we would expect to see here on 3-day seasons is I would expect to see temperatures higher than 41 degrees as far as the ground temp goes before the end of the day tomorrow. So basically before the end of middle spring. We were playing on 12-day seasons. I could conceivably see us playing for 5 game days before we really see a temperature flux up to 42 and 43 degree ground temps. That is simply because of the fact that we're not talking about a month now duration. We're talking about a significantly shorter duration per game day. So if we think about seasons and the days of and months of the year. So 3-day seasons, 12 game days per year. Well, there's 12 months in a year, so every day is basically a month. And if we think about months, at least in the northern hemisphere, and seasons in general, we will basically make the comparison that early spring is around March. Okay? Mid-spring is April, late spring is May. It means early summer is June, July is midsummer, and late summer is August. Think about the temperatures you have in August, and that's what you should be expecting if your geo that you're playing is anywhere remotely similar to your weather patterns in wherever you're from. Early autumn is going to be September, October, and that makes late autumn November. Early winter is December, and then late winter is going to be February, and then we're back to early spring in March. Okay, 6-day seasons, we have 24 game day years, so that is basically half of a month, or you could think of it as in 15 game days on average, or 2 weeks, thereabouts, per game day. Okay, if we bump this up to 12-day seasons, at 48 game days per year, we are almost, but not really, one full week per game day. Okay, it's going to be 52 weeks in a year, but we're talking about 48 game days, so it's a little bit off of that calculation, but it's close. And then if we go to the absolute extreme of 24 day seasons, 96-day year, then we are talking there about somewhere around 3 1/3, I think, if my math is correct, real days per game day. So with respect to time management, this is what I have tried to do with respect to Farm Sim 17 with seasons, and probably will continue with Farm Sim 19 seasons, and that is to think about how long it takes a real farmer to do a real job. So, is it out of the ordinary for a farmer to take an entire day to plant, a field in soybeans? I don't think it is. I think that's pretty normal that the farmer would get up in the morning, check his equipment out, prep everything up, and be out in the field by late morning, basically making sure that the ground has had a chance to get any moisture off of it from the night before, and basically be out in the field potentially until close to sundown, basically planting his crop. And of course, depending on the field, he might be able to get more than one field done on any one given day. But on a big field, well, it might take him, a single person, might take him more than one day to get that field planted. So what I try to do with my personal gameplays is size my equipment and play with a clock speed that tries to basically emulate that. So for this series, for this how-to video, we really have our clock set at 1 speed. Whoops. Yeah. So at 1 speed, 24 hours it would take for us to go through a real game day. We could get a whole lot of work done in that time period for sure. But what we're going to do is we're going to run out of things to do before we run out of clock time. So what I would tend to do is I would tend to play at 5x speed. That is basically what I think 4 to 4.5 real hours to a game day. Or I might play at 15 times speed. That is, I think, 90 minutes or so of real life time per game day. That clock is really ticking at that point. And for fields like this, small fields like this, when you only own a little bit of land, running at a clock speed of 15 times is not, in my opinion, too terribly quick. You're going to find that very quickly, it's midday. Very quickly, we're going to run out of time. We're not going to be able to, if we had the right ground temps, we wouldn't be able to put all of our seed in the ground same day. But we're definitely not going to have the time to fertilize our fields and lime all of our fields. And if we were going to plow all of our fields all in the same day, that just wouldn't happen, I don't think, in real life. So if we are going to use seasons to emulate real life, then we should think about our clock management time. But there is no real wrong way to play seasons. Folks will like to play. I've seen folks play at 1x speed, and then when they're done for the day, they just hit that fast forward to 120, and basically fast forward to the end of the day and then sleep. And I've heard other people say that they never sleep in Farm Sim. They basically play a full 24-hour day every day to maximize what they can get done. But with seasons play, you might run out of things to do pretty quick. That is just something to pay attention to. So if you're finding yourself running out of work, either one, you're running your clock, in my opinion, too slowly, or two, you're using equipment that is too big for the fields that you have. Obviously, if you have really big fields, or you have a whole lot of small fields, then bigger equipment is going to be necessity. But if you have fields like we have here, and you have a 9-meter seeder, then yeah, you're going to be done really quick, and you're going to not have much to do. Let's just see. Got our fields limed. They are not fertilized at all. Since we are waiting on ground temps to come up, we're looking at our minimum temperatures. They all look good. It doesn't look like they're going to get below freezing, so we don't have to worry about frost. Once we put our crop in the ground, we should be good. So this game day is going to be all about field prep. Getting things ready for planting. Buying whatever we need to buy at the shop, bringing it down here, basically just getting everything ready for planting season. Because when planting season is ready, you better be prepared to put seed in the ground, because our planting window is pretty narrow. And the shorter the season's duration, the narrower it is, not just in the number of days, but in the flexibility of the weather. So, for example, we may run into some pretty big issues in the fall running 3-day seasons, because if we get some rain, crops dry out slower in autumn than they do in summer. So we could run into a situation where it rains, we have a wet crop condition, we can't harvest, and the crop never dries out. Maybe we get rain in the morning, but the crop doesn't dry out by evening. And then come nightfall, we get a small shower, which just puts more moisture in the crop. And then maybe come at the evening of the second day of autumn, the crop is still not dry. Maybe the third day of autumn, we get a little bit of period of time where we could actually get something harvested. And then frost hits. And we didn't do anything wrong, but the weather just did not cooperate with us, and we lost our crop. So we got to be careful, and we got to basically be ready to do what we need to do when it's time to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish fertilizing these fields. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this spreader and we're going to get rid of it. And I'm going to demonstrate that basically we're able to get full credit back because we should be done before the half hour is up. So we've got our fields fertilized and limed just in time, I think, actually. So we drove it back up here. And you can see we've got 0.4 hours on our spreader, $18,900. See you later. Thanks for that. We've got 0.4 hours on our weight. Go ahead and get rid of that too. And we've got 0.4 hours on our tractor. We're going to get rid of that one too. And did you notice I didn't have to back out, come back in the trigger? I just did it all right here. Boom, boom, boom. So we just sold our tractor, and now we basically have one tractor in the one tractor farm. Got our seeder. Got a weight just to offset the weight of that. And, well, we're pretty much done for the day. Nothing left to do. We're just going to run down here and read the paper and relax and basically wait for time to go by. Just like that. It's now evening time. And did you guys notice we didn't have the magical flashlight effect go on? Go ahead and come on in here. What we're going to do is we are going to sleep till morning. Let's just get up at 10. After 10 hours. Now we can see we are in mid-spring. Cloudy weather. Got rain coming. You can hear the wind. Kind of windy today. Let's check wind speed, 7.8. It's going to get windier today as the rain comes in. 100% chance of moisture. You can see here that we have these pluses as basically representing very good drying conditions on Wednesday, tomorrow basically. But we can see the amount of precip that we're looking to get. And more importantly, our ground temps are up, so we can plant our wheat, barley, and oats, canola. We put sugar beets, potatoes in the ground if we wanted to, but we can't do anything yet on sunflowers, soybeans, or corn. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and see if we can't get some fields planted before the rain comes. Now, seasons doesn't limit us in being able to plant when it's wet. But if you want to play as real as you possibly can, then you're probably going to want to avoid doing that. Oh, it's already full. What am I doing? Okay, so let's look at our crop rotation that we set up last video. Fallow, wheat, soybeans, and corn. Wheat, fallow, and corn. Okay. Let's go over here and check this field out behind the house here. Before state was fallow, so we can plant. We can keep to this rotation and we can put wheat in it. That is exactly what we will do. In fact, we're going to go ahead and hire a helper. I would strongly suggest that you set these two off, just because, well, you don't need the hired helpers spending more money than you need them to be spending. Simply because, well, like I said, it's going to be quite a long time before you have money coming in as a result of a harvest. So that's where we're going to leave it for today. When we come back tomorrow, we should have a couple of these fields planted with crops. We'll see where we are with respect to ground temps and air temps and everything. And maybe we'll see if this rain turns out to be a thunder boomer or just a good old soaker. I hope you guys are enjoying the season's how-to series. Like I said, we're going to be back hopefully every day this week leading into the season's release and after, trying to give you some helpful hints, advice, and show off some of these new features. Here in the next, probably in 2 days, we're going to be talking about grass drying, if of course the weather cooperates, because we need to have decent weather to dry our grass. Looks like we're going to have good weather tomorrow in late spring, but I don't think we're going to have good grass growth at that point. Thursday and Friday, early in midsummer, we got rain in the forecast, and then late summer and autumn we have good sunny weather. But again, we get at this point in the forecast, it starts to get pretty speculative, and really we don't have any clue what is really going to happen. So we're going to have to see what tomorrow looks like, and then what the next day looks like. Oh, and there's the rain. So we are going to need to plant in the rain in order to I think, achieve our goals. But here comes the rain. Clouds are rolling in because we are running at the 15 times speed there. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell.